Hey, it's Brayden from 104.9 Virgin Radio with Camila Cabello. How you doing, girl?
Good. I just had this chicken nugget Hawaiian pizza that you guys made for me and brought me, made from scratch. You freaking got the milk from the cows and you stirred it up. You made the cheese. You went to the farm, got some tomatoes. I'm just kidding.
Of course, we pulled out the entire stop for you, girlfriend. But person to person here, tell me, how you been lately?
I'm a little overwhelmed.
Like with the new album, the tour and everything?
A little bit, but I'm having a lot of fun. And I think that I do better under pressure, if that makes sense. Like I have this thing in me where when I'm under a lot of pressure, I have like a moment where I feel really overwhelmed and then I just kind of like handle it and it makes me better at the end of the day.
You know, it's interesting you say that. Like, do you get the opportunity to ask yourself often, hey, how am I doing? Am I okay?
No, I mean, I think recently, like the past few days have been pretty intense for me because I've been doing tour and then on the days off that we had, there was like 2 days off that we had, I had to like fly to LA to do a bunch of stuff. And then like came back, flew here yesterday, did a show, and then so it was crazy. So I didn't have time. But there's like eras. There's a few days where it'll be a lot, and then it'll kind of go back to normal. Like now it's back to normal. Now it's just like normal tour. Have a day off tomorrow, so I'll just like chill and have fun and be a kid. You know, I feel like it's all about balance because I think that when you don't take any time for yourself, then you start to go crazy. Even if you don't want to, it's like your body just kind of is like screw you. And then you start crying randomly and you don't know why. Your body does that though.
Okay, hold up. Speaking of crying in the club, I have questions. The album, how does it feel that your art is now out in the world? Like, is it a surreal feeling?
It's nerve-wracking before it happens, but I think that it feels really good, because I have a really beautiful, amazing, dedicated fan base, and my focus is always going to be my music first, so I just want them to have a piece of me that's like tangible for them to listen to.
Absolutely, and it's crazy. With Crying in the Club and I Have Questions, I feel like both tracks make me resonate back to experiences in my life. So when you put the album and these tracks together, did you kind of intend for that to happen, or?
I mean, it's not so much hope because I feel like it resonated with me at that time in my life, and I know that humans, we're so similar. Like the emotions that we feel, everybody can relate to pain, everybody can relate to joy, everybody can relate to being in love, everybody can relate to being hurt, and I think that emotion is the one thing that we all have in common. We've all felt those kinds of things at one point or another. So I think that no matter what I write about, it's going to connect with some people. You know what I mean? Maybe not everybody can relate to being hurt at this time, but there's definitely some people that do. And when I'm happy, some people will be hurt. And there's always somebody that relates. And I think that's the great thing about music. So I feel like I don't ever make the decision based on like if I hope people will relate to it, because I know that somebody out there will. It's just what matters is if it's representing what I need to say at that time.
Yeah, I feel like that's so fundamental to being a songwriter. So would you say that when you are dealing with this emotion or this sadness, does writing help you get over that hump?
Yeah, I think that it feels good to just get it off your chest, and it just makes it easier to deal with what you're going through. You know what I mean? It's not like you're sad and then you write a song and you're like, yeah, no, I'm happy. But you definitely feel a lot better because you're kind of like, oh, something beautiful came out of a situation that sucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost like you're taking advantage of a crummy scenario and turning it into art, which, it sounds like that's exactly what you've done with this new album. The hurting, the healing, the loving. Now, when I first read that title, I felt like it was a story for me. So what kind of picture are you trying to paint with this record?
I think that was a moment in my life where I felt like writing this album got me from the hurting to the loving. And I feel like you can hear that in all of those songs. And I think that every song represents a different chapter from that. So.
And, from the sounds of it, it seems like putting this album together has been an adventure. So do you find it's hard to put the pen down and say, okay, the album's done, this is it?
Yeah, definitely. Which is why I try not to. I mean, I think that this album is done because I have like 12 songs that I really love, and I can't picture not releasing any one of those. So I have what makes up an album, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop writing. Like literally right after I get off this tour, I'm probably going to go back into the studio. So I think that especially now, I feel like it's not good to put the pen down because, information moves so fast. There's always music coming out, and artists I feel like me, I'm always changing. It's kind of like if I don't release this album soon, then, you know, I'm going to keep writing, and in 4 months I'm going to be like, no, I don't want to put that out. I want to put this out. So I think that because we change so fast, it's good to just kind of like force yourself to put it out. Otherwise, you'll never put anything out because you always think something's going to be better.
So what's the writing process like? You know, an idea comes to your head. Do you put it in a notepad? Do you sing a few bars into your phone?
I usually I have notes on my phone, and then I'll just kind of, if I have like a title that pops into my head, I'll just write down the title, and I'll put like, you know, when you search up stuff into your notes, like if you put like lyrics, and if you search up lyrics, it'll have like all of the notes that have the word lyrics in them, if that makes sense. So I just like, when I go back into the studio, I'll look in I'll type up lyrics in my notes, and I'll see everything that I've written, and depending on how I'm feeling that day or what I'm like connecting to, I'll write about that.
Okay, Camila Cabello, one last question before I let you go. One thing you need to know about me is I'm an emotional disaster in the relationship department. So, what do I do if a boy leaves my messages on read? AKA, he looks at the message, but doesn't reply.
Don't text him again. Like, until he texts you. And then when he texts you, make him wait.
Well, you've heard it here first. Thank you so much, Camila, for hanging with me today. The new album, The Hurting, The Healing, The Loving, coming soon. Talk soon, girlfriend. Have a great